Hi, Garrett. How are you?
Hi there, Petra. Nice to see you.
Yeah, nice to see you too. And I believe you are in Switzerland at the moment.
That's right. It's spectacular. I mean, actually, just right outside my windows are low, very low clouds hanging over the sides of mountains. It's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm in Kandersteg, Switzerland. And it was really nice. The first week I was here, I stayed in a beautiful little hotel called Hotel zur Post.
Mm.
And the hotelier is a lovely, lovely gentleman named Thomas said to me, I said, I never heard of Kandersteg until the Berlin Opera Academy was going to come here, et cetera, et cetera. And he said, yes, yes, you never heard. And don't tell anyone.
Oh,
Isn't that great?
yeah. Oh, that's amazing. But well, I mean, I love those places that are sort of not known about, that they that it's about, a little more non-touristy. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
from here, it's not far from Interlaken. I mean, it's a 45-minute drive to Bern, but it's about a 30-minute drive to Interlaken. It's not so far. But it's at the end of a beautiful valley, up in this valley, and very high, and snow-capped mountains all around, and big
Amazing.
hiking community.
Mm.
It's incredible. Lots of gondolas that go up in different places to take the hikers up, and I haven't been on one of the long hikes, but I keep hearing from friends that have been that you can take a hike up into the mountains and you can stay overnight in some little
Oh,
cabin, or you can even go up and order some cheese, a really beautiful cheese plate, and have a special
mhm.
local beer up way up high in the mountains. It sounds really nice.
I
So,
wanted to ask you about the cheese because I just love the Swiss cheese. I mean, when I go, I just literally live on cheese and bread.
yes, yeah, that's. I haven't. Well, yeah, we went to a really fantastic restaurant last week, Rudy House. This beautiful, beautiful place, but it's rustic, but
Mm.
um, really wonderful garden in front, and delicious food and drinks and wine and cheese. And they have,
Mm.
of course, a classic fondue that I hear is fantastic. I had a
Oh,
steak
okay.
that was amazing. Yeah,
Oh,
special to be
that's
in the
great.
Alps.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it's great to relax a little bit there as well. But
Yes.
Garrett, tell me about your CD that you are releasing. Um, Transatlantic,
Certainly.
I believe is the name. Yeah,
That's
is the
right.
title. Mm.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. We have this, the Berlin Academy of American Music, this
Mm.
new orchestra that we founded over the only last 8 months or so. We founded it with a recording. The name of the recording is Transatlantic, and it
Mm.
focuses on American repertoire and Igor Stravinsky and Aaron Copland um, and Avner Dorman, a great American-Israeli composer. Takemitsu, there's a great American piece he wrote called Toward the Sea 2. And Craig Urquhart, my good friend Craig Urquhart, and his wonderful work for Lamentation for Flute and Strings. And it features two amazing soloists. One you know as Chen Reiss,
Oh
the
yeah.
classic soprano. She sings No Word from Tom from Rake's Progress on the album,
Mm.
and she's amazing. And she also sings in Avner Dorman's No Theme song cycle. And we also feature this amazing, really amazing young Greek flutist named Stathis Karapanos, who
Okay.
um, who is singing. I'm sorry, not singing. Of course, he's playing the Takemitsu Toward the C2 on alto flute,
Mm.
and he's got an amazing, incredible sound. And I'm happy to say the orchestra does sound French in
Oh,
that
is
piece.
it?
Because
Mm.
Takemitsu is very kind of Debussyan in a certain way. And he also plays the Avner Dorman, and he plays Craig Urquhart's new piece, Lamentation for Flute and Strings. So it focuses on these two great soloists and friends of mine, and these composers, these American composers and American connected composers. So,
What made you choose these specific pieces of music?
well, the idea for the concept for the album came up between Stathis, myself, and Craig Urquhart. And Craig Urquhart has been kind of for me, very important. He's worked as a consultant for me for over many years, and he helped introduce me to many, many people here in Europe. And really, he was the main person that helped me make the transition from New York to Europe and to Berlin. So Craig, and he was Leonard Bernstein's assistant for the last 5 years of his life, and knows
Oh.
lots of really interesting people from that period. And yeah. And Stathis has also worked with Craig on several projects, and we both were thinking of a way to like honor him. And so we were going to, our idea in the beginning was, let's just record his new piece. I don't know what we were going to do now, because it just seems like it was only about 8 or 9 months ago we were talking about this, but it's such a different way of thinking. We were going to record one little piece, like 10, 11-minute piece. And instead we decided to record an entire album.
Wow.
And yeah, so it was pretty incredible. And we used, and in the end, we kind of used the opportunity, because we already, Rosie Salvucci and I, this other American in Berlin, who's a bassist, who knows lots of great players in Berlin. And she and I had been already putting together some distanced readings during Corona times last summer and such. And so we already kind of had in mind that we might try to find a way to create an orchestra. And then the CD project came along, and Stathis came along, and our plans came together, and we had some sponsorship that helped pay for a lot of it. And we just went for it and kind of used that as an excuse to really found this orchestra.
Oh, okay. So it was that way around. It was like first the CD planning and then the orchestra.
Yeah, it's kind of
amazing,
backwards, but it's really helpful now. For us, for me now, we're trying to, I just was on the phone a few minutes ago with David Bijoui, who's my new great friend and our business partner on with the orchestra. And we're talking about 2 concerts we're trying to plan for in November in Berlin. And it's so helpful that we already have a CD coming out. Like we already have news. We can already show the world and share with you what we sound like. And so it's really cool.
Now, so will you keep to American music? Will that always be the repertoire of this orchestra?
That's the idea, really, because it's no other orchestra like it in Europe, and really not even in America. I don't think in the world. It's an orchestra really focused on American repertoire, and also the repertoire of immigrant composers to America.
Okay.
So that's why Igor Stravinsky does fit. On this album, Takemitsu fits because we were looking for something else for Stathis to play. And it is a piece that was written and premiered in Massachusetts. And it was, the commission came via the Save the Whales campaign from Greenpeace, which is an American organization. So it all kind of thematically worked. But my idea really is to present American repertoire and great American repertoire with this fantastic chamber orchestra throughout Europe and in Berlin and to really create like a cross-cultural kind of dialogue between the US and Europe with classical music.
It's interesting that you say now about the cross-Atlantic, I think. Do you find that now in America, say there are many composers also in America, would this be something that you would also, young composers or new composers be interested in playing, so that there's this connection between America and Europe?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely kind of one of the plans. I mean, I think it's interesting. In the beginning, I think we have to be really kind of smart about our audience and make sure our audience is like impressed and enjoys the concerts and feels like there's music that has popular appeal, but also, of course, great, I mean, truly great classical music. The one thing about it that I think maybe Europeans don't know is I'm an American conductor living in Europe, so I get asked all the time to conduct Bernstein and sometimes Copland, sometimes a little Ives, Charles Ives, often John Adams, Philip Glass. Those are kind of like the big famous names. But there's many more, and as an American, there's many other famous names too, and that Europeans don't know. So my idea is to kind of introduce the greats that we as Americans all know and that some Europeans don't know, or a lot of Europeans don't know, and always find ways to introduce another one in every concert, you know. Like, definitely young composers and women composers, and there's my favorite American composer at the moment is an African-American composer, Anthony Davis, for instance.
Because I was thinking about this also, and talking to musicians about the fact that you actually educate the audience in a way also, and by always just playing what the audience wants is not always, you know, that they, if you can put in new things and educate in that way, so that people, like you say, start hearing and start being you know, exposed to other composers that we just normally used to listening to. That would be amazing, especially if,
That's
from
the idea.
America. Yeah, yeah.
Right, because I think people don't recognize necessarily that we have a huge collection of classical music that comes from North America and the USA specifically, and there's a lot of great creativity that comes from there that I think, and actually I'm quite certain European audiences would react very strongly for.
Yeah,
into.
yeah.
Yeah.
So when is the CD coming out or
The
released?
CD, yeah, it's the release party. Well, the release is on October 29. It'll be released on ONYX, the ONYX Classics label. Matthew Cosgrove is the president and our friend now who's working with us right now. We just finished working up the graphic design of the CD art cover of the album, and and it's and it'll come on October 29th, and it'll be available to buy worldwide, distributed worldwide, and also, of course, on streaming. All streaming services will have it. But yeah, it's really exciting. And then we plan to have our like a CD release type of opening concerts in Berlin in early November, right after.
Yeah, this is what I wanted to ask now. So there will be some concerts with this music of the CDs, of the CD. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it probably won't have only the CD music. Probably have a couple extra pieces as well. But yes, we're planning 2 concerts in the first week of November in Berlin, and we're already working on a tour for next June.
Oh, okay.
Probably, I think it'll be focused on Germany primarily, but it's possible we could come into Austria for a couple concerts or Switzerland for a couple concerts. I'm not sure yet.
But now this orchestra, the Berlin Academy of American Music. So this is now a fixed orchestra, and you will be working with this orchestra and touring with it. How big is this orchestra? How many members?
It's not a big orchestra. It's not. That's a good question. It's a chamber orchestra.
Yeah.
And it's. I mean, it could be in the CD. It is everywhere from 13 instruments, the Appalachian Spring of Aaron Copland, to, I think, for the Stravinsky No Word from Tom with Chen Reiss singing, we had 28 or 29 musicians. So it could be any size in there. I think to go on tour in the beginning, we're going to keep it to 15 or 18 musicians, and that keeps our costs down. But also what's great about it, there's a lot of repertoire that fits that size. It's good for Corona times that we're still in, unfortunately. And it's, you know, what's great about the repertoire, I have to say, is a lot of this music that we present of Copland and Stravinsky and Takemitsu or Charles Ives, or we're planning to do maybe Halil of Bernstein. This music all packs a punch. Like, it's like a small orchestra, but it's not a small sound necessarily, you know? So I think it's exciting. The music is exciting for audiences.
Well, it sounds amazing. I would love to listen to hear that. Yeah.
Maybe we'll come to Vienna. I mean, that's definitely a city we want to come to. Yeah.
That would be amazing. Oh, you have to let me know when you come.
That's got to be one of our plans. We have to come to Vienna.
Yes, definitely. Yeah. Well, it's been said here, and maybe it will happen. Like I say, many people who expressed wishes on this platform, their wishes have come true. So I'm sure, I'm sure you will come. What?
Let me say a few more then.
Yes, do.
No, I get it. But another thing I just want to mention for anybody who's watching, you know, is that please go to our new website. We have a new website. I don't think we're yet in the Google searches. It's only been up a couple weeks, but it's simply www.berlinacademyofamericanmusic.com, which is a little bit long, but it was we didn't really want to do the whole BAAM. thing. And so, and then mostly anybody, it'll just be a link people click, of course.
Yeah, I think it's also, yeah, it's easier to put it in that way, but I'll put the link in the description of this video anyway.
Okay.
So then, and then
Yeah.
it's easy to get, yeah.
Oh, good, good, good. Well, it's and what's nice also on the website, we have some great photos. My friend Kieran West from Hamburg took of us. There's some really fun photos of the orchestra, and in this beautiful hall, Teldec Studios in Berlin, this famous recording space. And we have sound excerpts. I mean, we have clips basically of the orchestra from Stravinsky, from Urquhart, from and you can listen to it on via SoundCloud links there on our website. And I think that's fun. So
okay, yeah. So there's a little bit of a taster of what's to come.
that's right.
Yeah. And then now what's next for you now, Garrett?
Well, I'm here in Switzerland at this Berlin Opera Academy. Yeah. And we're working on Hansel and Gretel at the moment, which is really, really fun with young singers from all around the world. And I'm doing a master class this afternoon for them on networking and career planning and about talking about agents as well. So I'm doing that, and I'm working on Hansel and Gretel most of my days, and enjoying every day, enjoying a nice long hour-long or 2-hour-long hike, which is great.
Oh, that's great. But this is important what you're doing at this masterclass that you're talking about today, that you're saying that, because I think this is something that many young musicians, you know, they're so focused on doing their art that they forget that there's, or not forget, but that they don't always know how to market themselves or how to get into the industry.
That's right. And so I'm always talking to young artists or composers, friends, and soloists, singers, other young conductors, and things like this about this, and really trying to convince people that you have to be an entrepreneur in a certain sense. You have to look at yourself and your name as a brand with your instrument or your, you know, conducting baton, or if it's you're a singer or whatever. You have to think about how you're going to make a name for yourself. And I think it's really important for people to recognize that in the beginning, especially, it's really up to them. Actually, I even think once you have management and everything, it's really up to them to lead the way forward and create a path, and to figure out which way they want to go, and with repertoire and artistic choices, and what's most important, I think, about is the idea of networking, and that musicians and young musicians and needs to always reach out, and they need to reach out to find people that can be supporters, to reach out to find people that would be interested in what they're doing, and to share their passion and love of music with people in the business, so that they can help find their audience, you know. No, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say about the networking, because I remember when I did this project where I photographed the artists in their windows, there was a young conductor who told me that he followed everybody that I photographed when I posted it on Instagram, because he said I'm creating a great network. And now if you think about it, I photographed 500 artists in Vienna in their windows. So you'll end up with in a network of 500 artists. And I never thought of it that way. That was not the intention of the project, but it was for me interesting that he saw it that way. You know, that he suddenly realized that by connecting with other artists, you are really building a network in that way, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, we have to, you know, when you're young, you have to just decide, listen, I'm going to have to reach out to 5 to 10 people this week. And if you move to a new city and you're starting there fresh, you have to start introducing yourself to people, or having perhaps friends and others introduce yourself to them, and making your way to concerts and meeting people at concerts, and going to rehearsals, and asking an agent to meet you for a coffee or lunch and things like this. And you have to do this kind of networking, and it doesn't happen if you stay in your room and just practice your instrument. I mean, you have to become a great artist, but you also have to always have a business sense. about that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's always fun talking to singers because singers are so outgoing and friendly and big personalities. And so I'll talk about that with them this afternoon for an hour, and that will be a lot of fun, I'm sure.
Oh, okay. But that's great. But Garrett, it's so great to talk to you again. And yeah, it's amazing this CD that you and this orchestra that you've created, and I think it's wonderful to have this, exposure to American music specifically. Yeah, I think it is very important that you do that.
Thank you so much. I think it can be special and it can be different. So it'll be
no,
fun to present.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I've never thought of it that way. You think of it as music, but really there are music from America that we don't know about, and it's great that you do it that way. But
that's the idea.
yeah, I wish you a wonderful time in the Alps and enjoy the lovely cheese.
I will. Thank you so much. Great to talk to you again.
And,
thank you very much.
And all the best with the masterclass this afternoon.
Have a great afternoon. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Garrett.